Moving back to what we started saying at the start of the show about Vitalik and his SHIB tokens that he donated. So he got billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of these SHIB tokens, and he did give some of them to charity, but apparently he's also burnt 6 billion in SHIB tokens. He says that he doesn't want the power. So this is 90% of his Shiba Inu coin holdings. It's worth about $6.7 billion. The backstory, if you didn't hear about this, a bunch of people in the SHIB community were just sending Vitalik all of these tokens, kind of like a publicity stunt. They were also trying to say, like, well, if we send it to Vitalik, it's as good as burnt. And now he's gone and actually burnt a bunch of them. So it is interesting. He was saying that he would prefer people to send money to charity rather than send money to him. And he also said that the remaining SHIB in his wallet, he is going to send it to a charity he's not yet decided, but it does look like it's going to be in the longevity field. He's talking about preventing large-scale loss of life with a more long-term orientation. He previously, when he gave his big charity round, gave a bunch of money to the Methuselah Foundation, which is Aubrey de Grey's foundation, looking into that. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with it. But what are your thoughts on the SHIB token, the bump in price we saw as a result of this, all of this community? Like it's I don't know, I find it super interesting. Well, I'm going to throw this to you.
Yeah, I'll go real quick before Zach. I just want to say, I think Vitalik is in a very unenviable position, just as one of the most central figureheads of all of crypto. Yes, he is super rich, but at the same time, he just gets so much hatred for being in his position, and anything he does is extremely scrutinized. At first, he donated a lot of these tokens, and people got mad at him for donating profits from traders without asking their consent. And then he burned some of the tokens, and now people are mad that he boosted the price of the SHIB token for burning half of the supply. So there's a no-win situation. If he holds the tokens, people are going to be mad for him supporting this project just by kind of holding the token itself, not doing anything. So I think it's interesting to look at Vitalik and kind of see him as a proxy for Satoshi or anyone else in the tech world, really high up, not in a great position. Everything they do is scrutinized. And I just I wouldn't want to be that person. So I guess shout out to Vitalik for kind of dealing with all the hatred he got this weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, Shiba Inu pretty flat on the news, which is kind of interesting. It's deflationary mechanism introduced to this Dogecoin knockoff project. So interesting that may be the long-term repercussion here. But again, I'm just fascinated by this story as a case study of an open financial system, right? So Vitalik's addresses are out there. People send him whatever he wants against his consent in this instance, as he shared in his note, right? So the idea of consent here on these networks, I think, becomes kind of interesting. To whom can I airdrop my useless token that may or may not be worth something going forward? Will that be encoded into the blockchain in some capacity going forward? Will rules sort of around consent become something that this sector grapples with? So some of the bigger implications of here, just even beyond sort of the Shiba Inu tokens ups and downs, I think is kind of interesting to me as we figure out, wow, these public networks are quite strange. But yeah, back to you, Naomi.
Yeah, I'll just tag along with what you were saying, Zach, about this idea of consent, because it's super interesting, because we do have things like blacklisted addresses now. We do have governments scrutinizing certain people. And you also, if you have a public address, don't have any control over people sending you money, right? So, if anyone wants to send money to your account, if bad people want to send money to your account, they could send it and suddenly you're scrutinized by the government. So it's this very interesting system. I know that's why a lot of nonprofits actually go through proxies so that they can't just have anyone donate to them. It's just I don't know. I love the openness of this system. I love that it's a push system rather than a pull system. You can't just take money out of people's accounts, but you can put money into any of them. I think that's the way that it should be. And I love that about crypto. But it's just a super interesting shift in the way we do things.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting, particularly talking about Musk just off the back of this, as a way to try and give up power within the system and recognize what some of the benefits of it are, and recognize that, he doesn't want to be a central point of failure or something like this, and trying to find a use case and a value for these tokens that he was sort of, were unceremoniously dumped on him because Shiba Inu just wanted it for a marketing ploy to be look, he's holding this. So I think this is maybe the flip side of how Musk just kind of seems to tweet off, and people really closely scrutinize that, whereas Vitalik's actively trying to say hey, like, I don't want this, like, take this away from me. And it seems like he's way more focused on this kind of long-term mission and developing a substantive conversation around these issues. So that to me was kind of combined with our previous story, the interesting note here.